This is How Do I Do This? The show for anyone asking, is it just me or is this a lot? Last year was technically my first holiday without my mom. She passed a mere 5 days before Thanksgiving. But honestly, I was numb. It's all a blur between then and maybe the spring. I know we had Christmas because I showed up for my son, but I don't know what that looked like. I don't know if there was magic. If you've listened to other episodes, you know my mom was a Christmas decoration aficionado. It was her favorite holiday. And so this year, while it's technically my second, in a lot of ways, it's very much my first. So today I'm asking, how do I do the holidays? How do I create those memories? How do I keep her memory alive? How do I create happy memories for my son, even if I might not feel happy? And with me today is Paige Ewing. She is a certified grief and life coach. She is also a woman who lost 8 family members 8 years in a row. Mm-hmm. And so she knows firsthand, not only from her experience walking with people through this and their own grief, but her own grief too. And she's recently been crowned Mrs. America after being Mrs. Georgia.
That's right.
And so she's here at the table with me. I'm so happy you're here.
Thank you. I'm honored. Thank you for inviting me here.
So a tradition we have is we have tea in my grandmother Mabel's tea set.
I love it.
And because before it was in the Urban Dictionary, she and the church ladies sat around this dining room table and they spilled the tea and talked about all the things. So what did you choose?
Oh my gosh, the Meghan Markle hibiscus tea, and it kind of matches my pink dress. I would show you, or I would spill it. So trust me.
But we don't want to spill.
It's pink.
We're not going to spill it in that way. So in this episode, you're going to learn the real symptoms of grief that can hit, especially during the holidays. It might look different during the holidays. I'm sort of expecting that it might. How did Paige balance her own grief and motherhood? She has a framework she calls dance, which I find fascinating, and I know that you will too, and what honoring your loved ones looks like. Yeah. So Paige, tell us your story.
Okay, so 2015, similar to your story, right before Thanksgiving, my father passed away. It was a week short of Thanksgiving, so that was also our first holiday filled with fog, right? Fog, numbness, sitting around a table that looked very much like this. And what we did for that first holiday, the head chair was where he always sat, and we placed a picture of him in the chair and just left that space for him because he loved Thanksgiving because it was all about the food. And then the naps and the football afterwards. So that was the first real loss in my life. Actually, I'm sorry, I said 2015. That was 2016. You had mentioned previously I had lost 8 family members in 8 years. It began the year prior with my granddaddy, as we call him. I'm a Southern girl as well. I know you are too, just like your mom and your grandmother, Mabel. And so we call him granddaddy. And he passed in 2015. And that was one of those deaths that was an honorable death. He had lived a wonderful, full life. He was a veteran, a business owner. And so we were honored to be able to lay him to rest. And so it didn't affect me the way it would a parent who unexpectedly passed short of cancer. I mean, 7 weeks. He got diagnosed in 7 weeks. He had passed away. So he didn't really even have time to fight. He didn't have time to battle. You know, we went through the chemotherapy, but if anyone has watched a loved one go through chemotherapy, it weakens their body so much. And so we lost even more of him. Sometimes I go back and I wish we just would have let him live the rest of his life. But you expect hope. You live out of hope. Yeah. No, this is not the end. We have an answer. And, my maiden name is Armstrong. And the way my dad always says, we're Armstrongs. Yeah. We're going to fight. We're going to show up. We don't back down. But God had a different plan for his life. And so 7 weeks later, he did pass. And that rocked my world in a way I had never experienced. And that was the first real experience of what grief was like for me. After that, every single year, there was another family member. My 14-year-old cousin, the year after, was my own brother. He was 33 years old. And then I had some grandparents pass away in between. The final one in year 2022, at the beginning of that year, I was talking to God. I said, God, I am surrendered. I have no control over what my life is like. Whatever you want, tell me what you want me to do. And I heard him speak to me, be a life coach. That sounds fun. I can do that. Yeah. That sounds hopeful. What do you want me to talk about? And I felt him in my heart speak to me and say grief. And I said, no, that's sad. I don't want to go back to that. I've gotten past it, as we say. And those who are listening on the podcast, I just did air quotes. I have gotten past it. Yeah. What you know is that you never really do get past grief. You just learn to grow around it. So I agreed to do life coaching, signed up for a course. 2 days before my course was supposed to begin, my mom passed away in her sleep. And I thought, okay, God, I hear you. I know I'm going into life coaching, but I'm supposed to talk about grief because not everyone has the experience that I had. And I do believe that he's also gifted me with a voice to be able to speak and to relate to people and to carry a hard topic like death and the loss of a loved one and still instill hope for people like that. So during that time, I was still raising 2 little girls. Right now they're 16 and 12. But this was almost 9 years ago. This November is 9 years ago when my dad passed. So they were so young and so little and very much dependent on their stay-at-home mother.
Kind of in the same space that my son is right now, where they're having, I imagine they were at the age where they understood what happened.
Yeah. Absolutely. My oldest, Avery, she was 7 at the time. Charlotte was only 3. But they knew who their papa was. And then as the years went on, they missed their Uncle Jacob, my brother. And then they missed their ma. That was my mom. And that was definitely the hardest for them because they were so close to her. She moved to Beaufort to be close to us. And having to still show up every single day and make their lunches, get them dressed, fix their hair, get them out the door, make sure laundry is done, is dinner cooked. Can't forget cheer practice or softball practice. In meantime, I'd rather just be in the fetal position in the corner of the kitchen floor.
Oh, I've had a lot of days like that. And I've told people, but for my son, there are days I could just rot in that bed.
Yeah. Because that makes us feel better, right?
Right. But that's not an option. Not an option.
Every time I wanted to really just collapse, at the time my little one would come around the corner in a tutu or a baby doll. Mommy, watch this. Look what I can do. And get up and play with me. And I knew that was a lifeline for me to be like, okay, you still have so much to live for that's right here in front of you. Just get up and do the next step. Just do the next thing. And so that's how I was able to get through it kind of in the early stages.
So talk to me about, since this is really kind of my first holiday where I'm aware, I'm a planner, being an attorney. Will my grief feel different? And what are some symptoms that I might not necessarily realize as grief right away?
Oh, I love that question. When you ask the first question, will my grief feel different? I'm going to ask you a question.
Okay.
Feel different than what?
Than just every day. Because right now, being a little more than 10 months out, mine is tricky in the fact that I have 2 to 3 days where I'm like, all right, I'm productive. I don't have the grief brain. I'm getting stuff done. I'm feeling a little like my sparkly self. And then for whatever reason, I'm back circling the drain.
Sure. Yeah.
And then, and those 2 or 3 days are sort of tricky in the fact that you think, okay, I'm sad, but I'm going to be all right. And I know I'm going to be all right.
Yeah.
But then all of a sudden you feel like you're back at ground zero again.
Yeah.
So that's kind of where I am now.
Yeah. And that's totally normal. It doesn't mean that you aren't strong or there's no getting over it. Like I said before, you're going to grow with the grief. You're going to learn to grow with the grief. And so I can't say what it's going to be like for you. And this is for anyone listening on this podcast. Grief is different for every single person. And it really is dependent on the relationship with that person who has passed away.
Okay.
And for you, particularly, it was your mother. So what was your mother like and what did she create for you during the holiday seasons, growing up and as a young adult?
I mean, magic.
Yeah.
I now realize that behind Santa Claus was a mother who worked really, really hard to make that happen.
Yeah.
Everything we wanted, wrapped, big, huge, we always got big Santa sacks where she just dumped stuff in that I realized was her way so she didn't have to wrap everything.
That's smart. She was a smart woman.
She's so smart, right? But every inch of the house decorated. Even the kitchen had Hershey Kisses Christmas ornaments hanging around in the kitchen. And she just loved Christmas, 7 or 8 nativity sets. I mean, we went it didn't matter. We grew up in the Baptist church, but we went to the events at the Methodist church. We went to the events at the Episcopal church. Like we did all the things. And so magic, I mean, when I think about my mom and Christmas, magic is the word that comes to mind. And I'm sure she was exhausted because there was 3 of us.
Right. Oh my gosh. I know my mom, she raised 3. And I would say the same thing about her. You know, we all know the magic behind Christmas is really a tired mom. Yeah, exactly. A very tired mom and a dad who has no clue what's under the tree.
Right, exactly.
For the most part.
Really cool.
Yeah. Oh, that's awesome. So I guess I would just want to ask you a couple of questions. If I literally were in the position of kind of being a coach and this is going to be your first Christmas that you are present and kind of locked in, because as you know, in the beginning, there's that brain fog that you had mentioned. You're kind of like a walking zombie. You feel everything and nothing all at once.
Yeah, it was weird. Even my fingertips were numb.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. I mean, loss like that changes your nervous system. It's a physiological reaction to your body because your brain no longer has that person there, but that you still feel like that person is there, right? So the pathways in which your brain always continue to work. Oh, well, it's whatever time I need to call my mom. Oh, it's Christmas time. I need to do this. Your body is in autopilot, but yet it's like you have this limb that's supposed to be there and you think, let me go reach for my tea, and you don't have that limb anymore. Your brain is still functioning in that way, and the wires are so crossed to be able to understand, oh, there's no longer this person in my life. There's no longer this arm that I can pick up that tea. That's what it can feel like, a phantom pain, a phantom loss. So the second time around, and I do tell people, early grief is actually 2 years. Early grief.
2 years. Wow.
2 years. The second year is usually the harder year. And just to give yourself a lot of grace and patience and to mother yourself, to parent yourself the way your mom would treat you as a hurting daughter or as a hurting child. But you sound like a lot like me, where we're like, oh no, we're going to get stuff done. We're going to make sure we have the list. And we're going to
create a podcast.
Yes. And we're going to work. We're going to work through it. We're going to take our
driver personality.
And we're going to channel it into something different. But then there are days where you feel like you just want to stay in bed all day. And that's okay. And to give yourself the grace for that, because your body is having to transform a reality that you did not expect. Yeah. It's not this strong will. I can just push through. I can be a strong person. No, your body has been through trauma. A lot of grief does come with trauma, and losing a loved one, especially when it's someone quick and unexpected, is a traumatic event. And so you have to give your brain and your nervous system and your body a little bit of patience and grace through that. But something I want to ask you is, coming into the holiday seasons, and you talk about your mom was the creator of magic. Do you want to take some of her traditions into this Thanksgiving and Christmas especially?
Yeah, I think so, especially because she and my son were very close. In a lot of ways, she was really tough on me, but my son never experienced that. He always experienced the doting grandmother.
Yes.
I remember the summer he went to stay with them, with my dad and my mom, for a few days. And he came home and we were just chit-chatting. I said, so did you eat any vegetables? Because there was clearly a lot of ice cream and sweets and indulgence. And he said, oh, yes, I ate a salad every night, but it had carrots in it. And Cookie, that's what he called my mom, picked out the carrots out of the salad. I was like... And I was like, surely he's mistaken. So I called my mom and I said, what is this picking carrots out of a salad? She said, well, it was that bag salad and it's got those little shredded carrots and he didn't like them. So I picked them out. And I said, where was this woman? I mean, who is this woman? Because I would have gotten double carrots, let alone picked out. And so that doting that she did on him is something that I would like to show him and honor her in that way.
Okay. So the doting, the little extra things, like maybe a second cookie at night or whatever. Think like, what would your mother do for him? So to me, it sounds like you're concerned about making Christmas magical for your son.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
But what about you?
Oh, I haven't really thought about me.
Yeah. But this is one of your first Christmases without your mom.
Yeah.
So how do you really want to experience Christmas and honor her as your mom. Because if you take care of you, you're going to be even more empowered to take care of your son in that way.
Those are really good things for me to think about and journal about and see and come up with some answers. So even for people who are listening, I think, you just took my breath away, Paige. You know, to say, I think as moms, it's hard for us to do that, right? Because we think, you know, if my family is happy, then I'm happy. And that's true. Yep. But we get put dead last. And so figuring out how to kind of put myself on the list too. Yeah. But you're
still a daughter.
Yeah.
Yeah. You're still a daughter. And it doesn't matter how old we are. You know, we still want our parents at these events, especially at Christmas and the way she created Christmas for you. And even though you got to witness her creating it for your son, it still touched your heart. It still made you feel like, oh, this is my family. I love that my mom is doing this for my son. Even it's picking carrots out of his salad when he needs to probably eat the carrots.
I think it's a little foggy in my head right now, but either the last Christmas she was with us or the one before, she brought a special craft that they did together, and they made this gumdrop tree thing. So maybe that's something I can do with him that I know he'll remember that he did with her.
And he's 9, and he's very well capable of communicating and advocating for himself and his own needs. I think you should just ask him, hey, what do you want to do that makes you feel close to Cookie? Is that what he called her? Yeah. I love that. It's so sweet. It's appropriate for Christmas. You know, how do you want to celebrate it to bring her into Christmas? And that way he feels like he's taking ownership over it and honoring her life as well.
That's a great idea. So how did you mother your children in this space and create happy memories? Give me some ideas of what you did.
Okay. We are a family of tradition. My parents were amazing at creating just family traditions. So specifically, if we're talking about Christmas, because Thanksgiving's great, but Christmas is the magic season, right? It's the magic season. My dad was always the one who we did reindeer food every night or Christmas Eve. We go outside, throw, oatmeal and glitter and all the jazz, right? Up in the air. We make a wish. Turn around 3 times, jump into the bed. There were things that we did like writing a letter to Santa, leaving the cookies and the milk. And he made it. I say he did, and my mom as well, right? But he was more vocal, like, oh, I gotta go do, reindeer food. He was a southern redneck in a way, so he had a lot of grunts in there, chewing tobacco in the side of his mouth. But we would still do that with the girls, let's make sure that we do it like this, and we have to do cookies. And I just remember my parents, especially my dad, would say, you have to do this when you have children. Don't ever let the magic die. When they get older, don't let the little ones know, still play Santa. And not everybody does the Santa thing. Sure. And, different religions and even just, the Christian belief, whatever. But what your family tradition is, if you want to continue to honor that, I say stick with it. That's what made us feel close to them. It made it feel like they were in the room. Truly, it felt like their spirit was in the room. We would buy some candles. Actually, we bought some special candles that represented their character. So many candles now you can. Yeah. So we found one that was in a vase with deer antlers around it because he was a big hunter. And so we bought that, and every holiday we'd bring it out and we'd light it. And it was honoring his spirit of like, you're here. And then my brother passed, and we found a candle that kind of represented him. It looked like tree bark, just he was an outdoorsman. And yes, we'd much rather have their physical body in the room, but how can we honor and bring their spirit and say, hey, I know you're still here. We're lighting this candle to keep your light alive. And we would do those, during Christmas times as well.
I love the idea of the candles. What are, as you have worked with people, what are some other ideas that you've seen people do and you're like, oh, that's really clever. I like that.
Yeah. Pictures are always a great way to, bring them back into the room at the table setting. A lot of people like to write letters, as if they're writing it to them, telling them, hey, this is what we're doing. This is what's going on. Back in the old days when people did pen pals and you like literally tell your life before we put it on social media. Right. You have to actually, and you send wallet pictures to each other. So writing a letter to your loved one and, just as if they're still alive. Because here's what I believe.
Mm-hmm.
I believe that they are.
Mm-hmm.
They're here. They're literally right here beside us, just in a different realm and a different spirit. And what I've had to learn to do and teach other people to do is you can still have a relationship with a person who's passed away outside of the physical touch in the physical realm. It's just learning to listen with your heart, to listen with your spirit, to still talk out loud. There's so many times where I may say something or think a thought, and I will literally just think the same thought that my mom would have thought. I'm like, now I know I didn't say that because that was condescending and inappropriate, and that was you, Mama. I know that was not me. Yeah. But you channel their thoughts that still kind of come through, and just keeping communication open. A lot of people find beauty and connection in nature and being outside, whether it's in the woods, walking, birds, butterflies, dragonflies, ladybugs, whatever that thing is. Look for it, and when you find it, don't dismiss it. Don't discredit it. Yeah,
I love that.
Mm-hmm.
So talk to me specifically, if you feel comfortable.
Sure.
Any question, especially your oldest daughter asked, that just sort of took you by surprise and you said, I wish I could have handled that better, that we could, a tool that we could give a mom listening that maybe,
as in a question maybe about the death of the grandparent,
or just just anything in that realm.
I can't think of one specific question. I just know that I've tried to keep conversation open with them when I was actively grieving. And what I mean
by you didn't hide it from them.
Oh no. Good. No. I mean, when I say actively grieving, like you see tears. You see me being sad. You may see me, I'm sitting on the floor and I just literally can't get up, I would have to tell them, Mommy just really misses whoever in the moment because I've had too many to grieve. Sometimes I'm like, I don't know which one I'm sad about today.
Just all of it.
Everybody who's not here. I just need a moment. I'm really sad, and it's okay to cry because this is what it's like to be a human. And when you love somebody and they're not here and you miss them, crying is a normal, response. So being able to just communicate it in the way that they can understand at that age.
Age appropriate.
Yeah, for sure. And I think that you particularly will know what's best, to say to your son when he asks questions. But it's our job as parents to not only show our children how to live and to behave and to respect, but also how to feel emotions in an appropriate way.
Yeah.
We can't whitewash and toxic positivity everything.
Right.
Because when they have those moments, they're going to think, what's wrong with me?
Am I bad? Is it wrong? Or whatever. And all the feelings are okay.
Yeah. So teaching them it's okay to feel this way and process it, but we just don't stay here, And that's when this kind of healing tools come into play. Like, all right, let's get up and do something, after we've allowed ourselves to feel it, let's move forward, from this moment.
So tell me about your dance method.
Oh, I love this. Okay.
Yeah. Tell me about that.
Okay, so I have kind of created this acronym that has helped me get through those exact moments where I'm feeling this. Sometimes people use the term wave, the wave of grief come over you. It's called A Time to Dance, and dance is an acronym, DANCE. It comes from the Bible verse, Ecclesiastes 3:4, and it says there's a time to mourn, there's a time to dance. And I've always looked at that as two separate entities. Now we're mourning, and now we're dancing. They cannot coexist.
Yeah.
But in life, different emotions do coexist. You can experience a joyful moment while still grieving.
Both things can be true.
Yes, both things can be true at the same time. It's not either or, it's both and. I'm both grieving and I'm happy. I'm both angry, but also grateful. One doesn't cancel out the other. And I think that's part of the human experience, and that I want people to understand it's okay to feel both at the same time. You can be mourning the loss of, your husband and still rolling on the floor laughing with your girlfriends, the very next day. That's the beauty of life. God gives us those opportunities to experience both at the same time. And so I think the way through mourning is through the acronym of dancing. And dance stands for D is define how you feel. Okay. So if you look at grief instead of this big ocean wave that's coming and crashing over you. A lot of times people say grief is like a wave. I'm drowning in it. I can't, it just keeps coming and coming. Yeah. And then every now and then we're okay. It's smooth sailing. Then every 3 days, here comes another wave. Like, oh, where did that come from? To me, that analogy is great, but it also gives the idea of like, you're the victim and you have no control over what's, I can't get above this wave, or I don't know what's happening. And, I've got to fight back. Well, what if we looked at grief as a dance partner?
Okay.
So imagine Dancing with the Stars.
Okay.
The new season is on right now. I don't know if you're watching, but my girls and I are watching. And so there's all these different kind of dances that they do. The really fast ones, like the cha-cha-cha and the jive, they come on quick and it moves quick and then it's over. Right. And then they have other dances where it's like the samba or the waltz, and it's slow and it lingers and it's a slower pace. Each single dance needs a rhythm. Now imagine going into Dancing with the Stars and they say, hey, we're going to do the cha-cha-cha. And you say, I don't know the steps to this, right? I need to learn the dance steps. I need to learn the rhythm of this. Well, imagine a grief partner showing up like that saying, hey, I'm here to do life with you right now. I want to dance with you. And each time it may feel a little bit different. It may come on strong and fast. Like, whew, where did that come from? Or it's lingering like the holidays. I see it coming. It's going to last for days. I
even feel it now with the way the light looks and
that time of year.
The leaves and
it's that slow lingering. And so you have to find this rhythm to walk through life with this grief. If you try to push it away, it's not going to do any good because it's there. It's not going anywhere. So imagine grief like a dance partner says, I want to move with you. I want to move through this day with you. And here's what it can look like for you. Here are the steps to be able to dance with grief. D is define how you feel.
Okay.
I'm angry today. I'm just lonely. I'm really sad. I'm confused. There's so many different emotions. So being able to define it, and then A is in dance is allow yourself to feel it. Maybe sometimes in the moment you might be working and you're like, I cannot break down right now.
Right.
But hey, there's a time where I can allow myself to go into active grief, and I'm going to give myself that time and that space to feel it, because you have to let it move through your body. You have to. If you don't, it manifests into illness. Can turn into stomach problems, stress, anxiety, depression, strokes, autoimmune disorders. I've seen it happen. So allowing yourself to feel it, because the only way to get to the other side is to go through it.
Yeah.
In dance,
that's
the hard part. If you can get through A, okay, we're getting a little bit further. A, I think is the hardest part, is allowing yourself to feel it, because it's so uncomfortable and so painful. But it doesn't last forever.
Yeah.
It doesn't. N is name the trigger.
Okay,
what set me off? It's the light in the air. It's the leaves changing color. It's the music on the radio. It was sometimes a picture that popped up on Facebook, I
think I didn't even, it may take you a minute to name it, because I didn't even realize a couple of weeks ago, like, why am I so in a funk? Yeah. And then I went outside and I went on a walk at lunch, and I realized, the air feels the way that morning was. Yeah. And I said, this is why, because the lights change and the leaves are changing, and it's reminding me of that morning.
When you can name the trigger, it puts a little bit more control back into your hands to recognize that's what it was. Because when we don't know what caused it, we tend to shame and guilt ourselves. Why do I feel so, what's wrong with me? I can't shake it. I need to do something different. No, actually, I feel this way because of that exact thing. My mom passed on April 10th. It was Master Sunday, and it was right before Easter too as well. And so just the flowers blooming in April make me so mad.
It sounds ridiculous to some people, but being mad at flowers makes perfect sense. I'm like, if you know, you know.
It's that time of year. It's that time of year. So another thing, you've probably heard the book, The Body Holds the Score.
Yes.
Yep, Body Keeps the Score.
Yeah.
It's in your body. It's there. It's always going to resurface. So being able to name the trigger allows you to have a little bit more power over the situation, at least just having the knowledge of it. Yeah. And so C for dance is check in with your body. A lot of times people don't realize that grief does get in your body. Your stomach may be hurting. You may have a headache. You may have blurry vision. You may feel nauseous. You may feel weak and tired and brain fog. It is a physiological effect on your body. It's not just a sad emotion. It changes the neuroscience of your brain and your nervous system. So in that moment, check in with your body and see where you're feeling the grief. Is my jaw clenched? Are my shoulders tight? Am I short of breath? When my dad passed, my stomach would hurt so bad every single day. And there are ways that you can work through that tension that's being built up. But that's also another way of putting power back in your hands to say, months down the road, like, why is my right hip continuing to hurt and I haven't done anything to it? Grief is probably being stored in your body right there. And there are ways that you can kind of work through that. So again, that's another like power move, right? The last one is E. It's exercise, a healing tool. So the very first one that I always go to is breath work. That 3-part, I call it a yoga breath, I think, in through the nose, fill the belly up first, let it come to your chest, exhale through the mouth. Just doing a few of those in the moment can really calm your body exponentially. There's tapping that you can do on different places on your body that brings you back to reality. Because what I've noticed with myself is that sometimes when I start to get into that grief cycle, I can literally feel like I'm having outer body experience.
Yeah, like you're almost looking at yourself going, get it together, what's going on, and you're grasping.
Yeah, you're trying to catch fog, catch a cloud. And so being able to tap and do certain things like that brings you back into your body to go, it's okay. I'm safe. I'm calm. I can do some breath work. So there's just a couple of things that you can do. The last one that I'll mention, and we can always go deeper, but it's just removing yourself from the location that you feel yourself sinking into. So let's say you and I are in this dining room and you started to have a grief moment and you're feeling that downward cycle. I would encourage you to get up and go to the backyard. Go outside.
So physically remove.
Physically get up and remove yourself and get into a new space because there's different air pressure, there's different energy in a room, and it allows you to almost clear your brain and go, I'm going to be okay. I'm going to remove myself from that spot for a minute. Just moving your body is a big component in healing from that, I don't know, it's like a grief monster, it just takes over.
And I've noticed that's true for me. One tool I use a lot is I'll go take doesn't have to be long, but a quick little walk just around the neighborhood.
That's good.
Just around the block, 5 minutes, maybe not even 5 minutes, but just as long as it takes. And then I'm back and I'm like, okay, let's do the rest
and there's a lot of science to that, like the bilateral movement and activating the left and the right brain. Have you ever heard of, it's the eye movement technique that people do for trauma survivors?
EMDR.
Yeah. It has something to do with moving your eyes left and right, activating that left and right side of your brain. It doesn't really make a lot of sense, but God gives us a body that allows us to heal ourselves through the power of his creation. He knew what he was doing when he put us together. And I just encourage people to use their bodies to do that.
And I'm laughing at myself because I have grief brain a lot where it just feels like the TV has been turned off and all of a sudden then I can also recall EMDR. Who knows why? Grief is weird.
Well, you're right.
I love your acronym dance. It's so helpful. Before we go, I have a lightning round of questions.
Cool.
First thing that comes in your head, you don't have to spend a lot of time with it.
All right.
So a life lesson that your mama taught you that you reflect on a lot.
Gosh. Ooh, wow. Oh my gosh. A life lesson. Always stir the flour when you're making roux for gumbo so it doesn't clump.
That is a great one.
Yeah.
Yeah,
you don't want clumpy roux.
You don't, or you don't want it to burn either because that's disgusting.
Yes, she was a big cook, and so she gave us that life lesson. And I always remember.
So, in your dark moments when life has gotten loud, what do you have that's very comforting to you, or what is your kind of go-to tool?
Yeah, my go-to tool. I'm a woman of faith, and my faith in God is what grounds me in everything, especially in those hard times. I put on worship music because sometimes I don't even know what to say when I'm trying to pray. I'm just like, God, WTH.
Yeah.
What's going on? I don't even know what.
Emotions are so big, the words
don't even know what to ask for. And so worship music sometimes speaks for me when I don't even have the words to say, to cry out to him.
That's a great tool.
Yeah.
I like that one.
Thank you.
Most sacred thing in your bedroom that
That has to do with maybe a lost loved one or
anything.
Most sacred thing in my bedroom. My king size body pillow that I sleep with between. If I do not have that when I go to sleep at night, there's no sleeping. So yeah,
sleep is important.
I cherish my king size body pillow.
I love that.
Yeah.
You're asking God one question and you
Yeah.
can get an answer. What's the question going to be?
Oh man. Gosh, it would have changed so many different seasons in life. I think right now is, if I were to ask him anything, it'd be, what am I missing? As in, what am I focusing on right now that doesn't matter, but I'm missing something else? So show me what it is that you really want me to focus on. So what is it that I'm missing?
That is a great prayer.
Yeah.
I love that.
Yeah. Yeah. Ellie Holcomb is one of my favorite worship singers, and she sings a song called I Don't Want to Miss It. And it's about Ezekiel when he climbed up into the tree because he didn't want to miss Jesus coming down. Yeah. And it's based on that. I will climb up into the tree, the sycamore tree, to see what's going on. So I don't want to miss a thing. And it's actually a really fun, upbeat song. So you should listen to it if you ever get a chance.
I definitely will.
Yeah.
So you've had a day. It's hard to be a mom. It's hard to be Mrs. America. Your list is full.
Yeah.
And maybe your husband did not do the one task you have asked him. I mean, your husband probably does.
Yes.
He probably doesn't fall into the husband trap that I hear a lot of husbands
He's
do.
very
And you're kind of done. What is your one phrase? It can be a swear word. It can be
gosh.
I'm done with today.
Yeah. I'm done momming today.
Yes.
I'm not a mom anymore today. Don't ask me anything. I'm not here. I'm done momming. That's what I'll say.
I love it.
Yeah, I've clocked out.
That's so great. Well, thank you.
Thank you
so much for your wisdom today, the insightful questions you gave me to think about that I know are going to help me, that in my quiet time I can journal and think about and find a way to put myself on the list.
Yeah,
and I know that for people listening that they are going to find value in this too and say, wait, where am I?
Yeah,
so
absolutely. You're welcome. Thanks for having me.
To have you here. That's it for today. You can ache for who you were before everything changed and still become someone new. Grief and growth sit at the table, often passing notes when we're not looking. This tea, this time, this space is part of your healing and is part of mine too. You're not broken, you're just brewing. And besties, we do not gatekeep. So if you heard something today that filled your emotional cup, share it with a friend. Like, follow, review, and I'll see you next week at this table. Follow along on Instagram at How Do I Do This Pod and on YouTube at How Do I Do This Pod. DM me on Instagram and tell me what kind of grief you're holding right now. Seriously, I'll read every one and will probably be the person to respond back. Tell me what you have tried that you think might help me. I'm open to trying anything that's not illegal. Your story might find its way into one of our future episodes.